this morning, now, I'm going to be talking about working with traumatized children. In drama therapy, we can work with trauma well because we can represent and play out the trauma in the session. And that is important because trauma treatment is required for the client to relive their experience. It's called imaginal exposures. Two, in drama therapy and in DBT, they're going to do it with the therapist. They will not be alone. Three, we have a possibility of role reversal. So they can relive the trauma not as the victim, but as the perpetrator. And in fact, most children, when they start to play, are in the role of the perpetrator. Have you noticed when you play with children, they like to shoot you, bang, and your job is to die. If you do not die, they get upset. If you try to shoot them, your gun does not work. If you have a sword, their sword kills you, but your sword can't hurt them. So this is a way that they can play and feel safe. For in drama therapy and in DBT, we move our bodies. It's physical. And that allows the child to feel more of what it felt like to be in the situation. And that helps them more vividly, more in detail, remember what it felt like. And here's how the process goes. We want to stimulate the child to move into being protecting of himself. So the therapist begins the session in some kind of threat or demand on the client in play. All right. So that could be you come in the door and you shut the door. Whoa, and you look at them. Right. Most children know what to do at this point. They will attack you. Or if you need to do more, you can say you close the door and you go, and they know what that means. Or you can say, I'm coming for you. Where are you? For a little bit older children, like 12, 13, 14, you come in the door, you shut the door, and you look at them and you say, no. And what do they say? No. I say no. What do you say? Yes. So you begin in that kind of way. Many children will start and they run around, you run after them, this kind of thing. So the child takes up his weapon, usually some kind of pretend sword, gun, pillow, something. And then the two of you begin to fight. And then it's your job to lose. So that's where he shoots you, kills you, over and over again. All right. So it's almost always true. The kid takes his gun, he goes bang, and then you die. Oh, you die. The child says, "Get up." Why? Because they need to kill you again. Bang! Oh, down. Get up. Right? Now, most people, therapists, adults, can do that 3 times before you lose interest in dying. It's not fun to stand up and sit down. Oh! Get up. Bang. Bang. Get up. Bang. Okay, can we do something? Okay. Right? Because you don't want to keep dying. But trauma is about this repetition. It's this frozen repeat. The child is trying to get over what happened to him. He has to keep doing it. He's locked in this cycle. So in DBT, trauma therapy, we have to go through the process with the client. The DBT therapist has to enjoy dying. All right? Bang! Oh! I did this yet. Oh. Then get up. Bang, you have to make it more. Bang. Now, about here, the child says, get up.
Get up.
And you go, no, 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 I'm dying. It's like, bang. Get up. Etc. You really put on a show. Very soon, the child realizes that it's more fun to duck than to shoot. And what will happen is the child says, my turn to duck. And in that moment, they switch, and the child gets a chance to die, and now your gun works. Bang! The child goes and he rises down like this. You do the whole thing, and he gets up, bang! This is very important because it means that the child is now moving into playing the vulnerable victim role, which is what he played in the actual trauma. Because of the fun of the drama, he's willing to not be afraid of playing out the victim role. When the child has played the victim, the injured role several times, that desensitizes them and they suddenly relax. And you will see it. Before they relax, they want to keep dying over and over again. Now, but when he's done it enough and he's on the floor or in the pillows, he does something like this. Like that. And in that moment, he is no longer a victim. He is someone who is injured. And in that moment, the therapist changes from the perpetrator into someone who is going to comfort him. A doctor, a nurse, a mom, a friend. So the child goes down like that and goes, oh, you okay? This kind of a thing. And you play taking care of him, this kind of a thing. And the whole process may repeat. But when the child gets in there, they are relaxed. And almost always they become like a baby. And you pick them up and you hold them. And in that moment, you often then say to them, I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm sorry that your uncle hit you. I'm sorry that that man had sex with you. That should not have happened. Let me in! Let me in! Who are you? I'm, who am I? I'm a stranger. Let me in. No, I'm coming in. No, yep, you can't come in here. I'm looking for a little boy. All right. Have a little dynamite there.
다이너마이트 갖고 있어.
All right, I want to. You have one? What's that?
Dynamite.
It's dynamite? What are you going to do with the dynamite?
I always throw it to you.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Yes, sir.
No. I had a special suit on. I knew you were going to do dynamite. All right.
That's nonsense.
What? Oh, yeah? What's that? I had a special film. Oh God, what's that?
It's a shotgun.
A shotgun. You like that, huh?
Yeah.
You like that?
Like it. You can't kill me.
Let me try. I bring forth the spirit of your stepfather. I am strong. Let's give the slave. Feels so nice to be done with you.
Me too.
Yeah. Sorry about all that.
Sorry for what?
Trying to kill you.
Me too. I apologize.
I apologize. You okay?
Yeah. I'm okay.
What are you doing? You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
So this was not a real 10-year-old. Thank you very much. But you could see what I'm trying to do. You could see that as he was fighting me, there came a time he wasn't so interested in doing that. He became more interested and open to being hurt. He could see that I was respecting his power, which made me safe, even though I was playing a enemy. And in the end, it felt okay to be holding each other, even though he was not entirely comfortable. We only had 20 minutes. But we continued to play even there when I held him against his will and he wanted to leave. But then when I loosened up, he didn't move away that fast. Because in that moment, was I the abusive stepfather? Or was I his original father whom he missed? I was both at the same time. Okay? Working with adults who have been traumatized is different than with children. Adults are much more able to talk about what happened to them. So we always begin by asking the client to tell us their story. And in the DBT, you would begin in the normal way. You ask them to give you a role, you give them a role, and you begin to play with them like normal. However, both you and they know about the story. So, slowly, the therapist will introduce images that are similar to this trauma that the client can ignore or play with if they want to. And so slowly, the client and the therapist begin to play with themes and images that get closer to the experiences that the client had. And sometimes you move away, and then sometimes you move into it. There will come a time when the client feels strong enough to want to play with it directly. And when that time comes, you as the therapist need to be able to play with it also. There's no way around it. But it doesn't necessarily happen quickly. It takes its natural time. And sometimes, and this is where DBT can be very useful, it isn't exactly the same as the trauma. This is where the dramatic play gives you more room. This is where theater comes up. Now, a very important technique that helps in this situation is called transformation to the here and now. In transformation to the here and now, while the therapist and the client are playing, as the therapist and the client are playing, the therapist will actually speak to the client about what it is that they're doing. So the therapist might say, gee, that image is very close to your real trauma. And while you're playing, and the client might say, yes. Then the therapist may say, do we want to get any closer or do we want to retreat? And the client may smile and say, I think it's better to retreat. And then the therapist and the client play out retreating. And then the play becomes about not talking about the trauma, which of course is a way to talk about the trauma. It takes a little time for the client to get used to speaking directly to the therapist about the session. It's like having a kind of process discussion about the session while it's happening. But that can be very helpful with trauma because you have a chance to talk with the client about whether or not you want to go further or hold back. The therapist is not trying to force the client to look at their trauma, but the therapist is simply there knowing that the trauma has taken place. And you're going to give the client a chance to explore it if they want to. They would not be in therapy with you if they did not want to do it. It's just an issue of when they feel strong enough to do it. And what helps them do that is knowing that the therapist is with them. The therapist is in the same dark cave that they are. So, we've come to the end. And just to say that DBT is an attempt at freedom, to improvise, to make things up on the spot, to not follow the script, to empty your mind and see the client and trust that you can turn their behavior into dramatic behavior. That is the skill of a drama therapist, to be able to turn normal behaviors into dramatic behaviors. We have many, many therapists and counselors who can talk. We do not need any more of those. We have very few drama therapists, and you should trust and be confident that play and drama can be helpful to your client. You should have courage to take a risk with drama, because if you don't, nobody else will. And I want to thank you very much. You are very wonderful drama therapists. And both Dr. Lubin and I were thrilled to be able to come here today and yesterday, and to thank Miri for inviting us. And we will see you again. Thank you.